Your focus determines your reality not in some abstract or mystical way, but in the most practical human sense imaginable. Every single day, your attention is being pulled in 1,000 directions, and what you choose to give your energy to becomes the lens through which you experience life. Focus is not just what you look at, it is what you allow to live in your mind. It is the conversation you repeat to yourself when no one is listening, the meaning you assign to events, the stories you tell yourself about who you are and what you are capable of. Over time, those stories stop being thoughts and start becoming beliefs, and those beliefs quietly shape your decisions, your actions, and ultimately the results you see in your life. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or opportunity. They fail because their focus is scattered. They wake up already behind, already reacting, already consumed by noise. They let distractions dictate their mood, opinions shape their confidence, and temporary emotions control permanent decisions. When your focus is everywhere, your power is nowhere. You become a passenger in your own life, responding instead of creating, surviving instead of building. But the moment you learn to direct your focus, everything begins to shift. Because focus is the gateway between intention and reality. What you consistently focus on grows stronger. If you focus on your limitations, they multiply. If you focus on your fear, it expands until it fills the room. If you focus on what you lack, you will never feel like you have enough, no matter how much you gain. But if you focus on progress, even small steps feel powerful. If you focus on discipline, your confidence grows quietly without needing validation. If you focus on becoming better instead of being seen, your results start speaking for you. Reality doesn't respond to what you wish for. It responds to what you reinforce through attention and repetition. Your mind is always listening. It is taking notes on what you emphasize and what you ignore. When you repeatedly tell yourself that you are behind, that you are unlucky, that you are not ready, your mind accepts that as instruction and begins to look for evidence prove it right. But when you decide to focus on effort instead of outcome, on growth instead of comparison, your mind starts working with you instead of against you. It begins to search for solutions instead of excuses. It begins to align your actions with the future you are trying to create. Focus is not about ignoring reality. It is about choosing which part of reality deserves your energy. Life will always give you reasons to be distracted, discouraged, and doubtful. There will always be noise, setbacks, and uncertainty. But your ability to choose where your attention goes determines whether those things control you or strengthen you. Two people can go through the same experience and walk away with completely different lives, simply because one focused on the lesson while the other focused on the pain. When you focus on what you can control, you reclaim your power. You may not control the past, the opinions of others, or the timing of results, but you always control your effort, your attitude, and your response. That focus builds momentum. Momentum builds belief. Belief builds action. And action, repeated over time, builds a reality that once felt out of reach. This is not an overnight transformation. It is a quiet, daily commitment to directing your attention with intention. The quality of your focus determines the quality of your decisions. When your mind is cluttered, your choices are reactive. When your mind is clear, your choices are deliberate. Focus allows you to see beyond immediate comfort and short-term relief. It helps you choose discipline over distraction, consistency over intensity, and purpose over impulse. It keeps you anchored when motivation fades and emotions fluctuate. Focus is what keeps you moving forward when the excitement is gone and only the work remains. Every great change begins internally. Long before results show up on the outside, a shift happens on the inside. You start focusing differently. You stop obsessing over what everyone else is doing and start committing to what you need to do. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and start working with what you have. You stop feeding doubt and start reinforcing belief through action. Slowly, almost unnoticed, your habits change. Your standards rise, your identity evolves, and one day you look around and realize your reality has changed, not because the world suddenly became easier, but because you became more focused. Your focus is a daily vote for the person you are becoming. Every time you choose to concentrate on growth instead of comfort, discipline, instead of distraction, purpose, instead of fear, you are shaping the direction of your life. This is not about being perfect or never losing focus. It is about noticing when your attention drifts and gently, deliberately bringing it back to what matters. Over time, those moments of refocusing compound just like habits do, just like results do. The world will try to tell you what to focus on. It will highlight your flaws, magnify your fears, and distract you with things that feel urgent but mean nothing in the long run. You must decide what deserves your attention, because whatever you consistently focus on will eventually feel familiar, and whatever feels familiar will start to feel like your reality. If you focus on strength, you will feel capable. If you focus on progress, you will feel hopeful. If you focus on purpose, you will feel grounded. Your life is not defined by a single moment of focus, but by thousands of small, repeated choices about where your attention goes. And when you finally understand that your focus is not just shaping your thoughts, but shaping your future, you realize that changing your life does not begin with changing everything around you, but with changing what you choose to focus on each day. Life is not a sprint, it's a long game. And the moment you truly understand this, pressure to rush begins to lose its grip on you. We live in a world that celebrates quick wins, overnight success, and instant results, but real growth does not follow the rhythm of impatience. It follows the rhythm of consistency. It unfolds quietly, slowly, often invisibly, through daily effort that rarely gets applause. When you treat life like a sprint, you burn energy chasing speed instead of direction, and you mistake urgency for progress. But when you recognize that life is a long game, you begin to value endurance over excitement and commitment over intensity. Most people exhaust themselves by trying to arrive too fast. They compare their beginning to someone else's middle, their chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20, and they feel behind without ever defining where they are actually going. In the long game, being behind is not a failure, it is simply part of the process. Growth is not linear and progress is not always visible. Some seasons are about building foundations, not showcasing results. If you quit during those seasons because nothing seems to be happening, you never discover how much was actually forming beneath the surface. The long game requires patience, but not passive patience. It is active, disciplined, and intentional. It is waking up and doing the work even when there is no immediate reward. It is choosing habits that serve your future self instead of impulses that satisfy your present mood. It is understanding that small, repeated actions compound over time in ways that massive, short bursts never can. A single intense effort might feel productive, but consistent effort over years is what reshapes identity and destiny. When you play the long game, you stop asking, how fast can I get there? And start asking, how long can I stay committed? You stop chasing motivation and start building systems. Motivation is temporary, but systems carry you forward when motivation disappears. This shift changes everything. You begin to respect the process instead of resenting it. You learn to measure success not only by outcomes, but by how faithfully you show up to the work. That faithfulness builds trust in yourself, and self-trust becomes one of the most powerful forces in your life. The long game teaches you resilience. In a sprint, a stumble can end the race. In a long journey, a stumble becomes a lesson. You learn that setbacks are not signs to stop, but signals to adjust. You learn how to pace yourself, how to recover, how to keep going without losing yourself along the way. You stop fearing mistakes because you understand that growth requires repetition, correction, and time. There is room to fail, room to learn, and room to come back stronger. Playing the long game also changes how you view success. Success is no longer a finish line. It becomes a direction. You stop living for one moment of arrival and start building a life you can sustain. You begin to care more about alignment than approval, more about progress than praise. This mindset protects you from burnout because you are no longer trying to extract everything from one season of life. You allow yourself to evolve, to grow into your goals, rather than forcing results before you are ready to carry them. There is a quiet confidence that comes from committing to the long game. It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't panic when things move slowly. It doesn't crumble under pressure because it knows that time is an ally, not an enemy. This confidence is built through repetition. Each day you show up, each time you choose discipline over distraction, you reinforce the belief that you can be trusted with your own future. That belief becomes unshakable over time. The long game demands sacrifice, but not meaningless sacrifice. It asks you to give up short-term comfort for long-term clarity. It asks you to say no to distractions that dilute your energy and yes to habits that strengthen your foundation. This is not about deprivation, it is about intention. When you know what you are building towards, sacrifice stops feeling like loss and starts feeling like investment. You are not giving things up, you are trading them for something greater. In the long game, comparison loses its power. You realize that everyone is running a different race with different starting points, different obstacles, and different timelines. You stop rushing because someone else appears ahead. You focus on running your own pace, staying consistent, and honoring your own process. This frees you from unnecessary pressure and allows you to direct your energy where it actually matters. Progress becomes personal, not performative. Time reveals everything. It exposes weak foundations and strengthens solid ones. When you commit to the long game, you allow time to work in your favor. Skills deepen, character matures, vision glamorous, but it is powerful. It is built on consistency, patience, and belief in a future you may not see yet, but are willing to work for every single day. Success is built on daily habits, not occasional inspiration, and this truth often challenges the way people like to imagine achievement. Inspiration feels powerful, dramatic, and exciting. It arrives like a surge of energy that convinces you anything is possible, but it is fleeting by nature. It comes and goes without warning, and if your progress depends on how inspired you feel, your growth will always be inconsistent. Habits, on the other hand, are quiet and unglamorous. They do not announce themselves. They do not rely on emotion. They simply show up every day, and over time, they build a life that inspiration alone never could. Most people wait to feel ready before they begin. They wait for motivation, confidence, or the perfect moment, but the perfect moment rarely arrives. What does arrive is today, with its ordinary opportunities and small choices. Habits are built in these moments. They are formed when you act despite resistance, when you do the work even when you do not feel like it. Each small action may feel insignificant in isolation, but repeated daily, it becomes a powerful force. Success is less about doing extraordinary things once and more about doing ordinary things consistently. Daily habits shape your identity. Every time you repeat an action, you reinforce a belief about who you are. When you write every day, even for a short time, you begin to see yourself as a writer. When you train your body regularly, you begin to identify as someone who takes care of their health. When you show up for your work with focus and discipline, you start believing you are reliable and capable. This identity shift is subtle, but it is foundational. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits, and those habits quietly define the trajectory of your life. Inspiration often creates a false sense of progress. It feels productive because it makes you think about change, dream about change, and talk about change. But thinking and talking are not the same as doing. Habits close the gap between intention and action. They turn ideas into behavior. They create structure where emotion cannot be trusted. On days when inspiration is high, habits keep you grounded. On days when inspiration is gone, habits keep you moving. This consistency is what allows progress to continue regardless of mood or circumstance. Habits also remove the pressure of perfection. When success is tied to inspiration, you expect every effort to be powerful and meaningful. When it is tied to habits, you understand that not every day will feel significant, and that is okay. Some days are simply about maintaining momentum. Some days are about showing up and doing the minimum necessary to stay consistent. Over time, this removes the fear of failure because missing perfection no longer feels like losing everything. You learn that success is built through accumulation, not through flawless execution. The power of daily habits lies in their compounding effect. Just as small amounts of money grow through interest over time, small actions grow through repetition. A few minutes a day becomes hours over a year. A small improvement each week becomes a massive transformation over a decade. This compounding is invisible in the beginning, which is why many people quit too early. They expect immediate results and assume their effort is wasted when they do not see change right away. But habits are working, even when results are not visible. They are building skill, discipline, and resilience beneath the surface. Daily habits also train your mind to trust yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you strengthen your self-belief. You prove that you can follow through. This trust is essential for long-term success because confidence is not built by motivation alone, but by evidence. When you consistently act in alignment with your goals, you create that evidence. You begin to rely less on external validation and more on internal consistency. This shift creates stability, especially during difficult seasons. Inspiration often leads to extremes. You feel energized, so you do too much too fast, and when that energy fades, you crash. Habits encourage balance. They teach you to pace yourself, to build in a way that is sustainable. This sustainability is what keeps you in the game long enough to see real results. Burnout rarely comes from doing too little. It comes from trying to do too much without structure. Habits provide that structure. They allow progress without exhaustion. When you commit to daily habits, you stop negotiating with yourself. You no longer ask whether you feel like doing the work. You simply do it because it is part of who you are and how you live. This removes mental friction and conserves energy for what truly matters. Discipline becomes less about force and more about routine over time. What once felt difficult becomes automatic, and what once felt impossible becomes normal. Success, in its truest form, is not a single moment of achievement, but a pattern of behavior repeated over time. It is built in early mornings, quiet evenings, and ordinary days that no one sees. It is shaped by the choices you make when inspiration is absent and excuses are tempting. When you understand that success is built on daily habits, not occasional inspiration, you stop waiting to feel ready and start building something real, one consistent action at a time. Your inner world is the battlefield, and every meaningful victory or defeat in your life is decided there long before it ever shows up on the outside. What you face internally shapes how you move externally. The thoughts you entertain, the fears you allow to linger, the beliefs you repeat to yourself in silence all gather strength over time, quietly influencing your actions, your confidence, and your direction. While most people spend their energy trying to control circumstances, outcomes, or other people, the real work is happening within, where no one else can see, where excuses are formed or discipline is strengthened, where courage is either built or slowly eroded. The mind is powerful, but it is not neutral. It does not simply observe reality, it interprets it. Two people can experience the same situation and walk away with completely different meanings, emotions, and responses. One sees an obstacle and feels defeated. The other sees the same obstacle and feels challenged. The difference is not the event itself, but the internal dialogue surrounding it. This dialogue is constant, shaping perception moment by moment, and if left unchecked, it can become the greatest obstacle you will ever face. Fear lives in the inner world. Doubt lives there. So does confidence, resilience, and clarity. The battlefield is not about eliminating fear entirely, but about learning how to respond to it. Fear will always appear when you are stepping into something unfamiliar or meaningful. The question is whether fear becomes a warning that stops you or a signal that you are growing. That decision is made internally through awareness and intentional thought. When you allow fear to dictate your behavior, it shrinks your world. When you face it with understanding, it sharpens your strength. Your inner world is also where habits are formed. Before an action becomes routine, it begins as a thought repeated often enough to feel familiar. The battles you win in your mind determine the habits you build in your life. If you consistently tell yourself that you are tired, incapable, or behind, your behavior will follow that narrative. But if you train your mind to focus on effort, learning, and progress, your actions begin to align with growth. This alignment does not happen overnight. It is built through repeated internal choices, especially on days when motivation is low and resistance is high. Distraction is one of the most underestimated enemies on this battlefield. It fragments attention and weakens focus, making it difficult to sustain effort on anything meaningful. Distraction feels harmless, even comforting, but over time it erodes discipline and clarity. When your mind is constantly pulled in different directions, you lose the ability to sit with discomfort, to think deeply, and to commit fully. Protecting your inner world means learning to guard your attention, because what you allow into your mind influences what you become. Your self-talk is one of the strongest forces shaping this inner terrain. The words you use internally matter, not because they are magically powerful, but because they influence emotion and behavior. Harsh self-criticism drains energy and creates hesitation. Constructive self-awareness builds momentum and resilience. There is a difference between holding yourself accountable and tearing yourself down. One leads to growth, the other to stagnation. Learning to speak to yourself with honesty and respect is not weakness, it is strategy. The inner battlefield is also where identity is formed. You act in alignment with who you believe you are. If you see yourself as someone who gives up easily, your mind will look for reasons to stop. If you see yourself as someone who adapts and persists, your mind will look for solutions. Identity is reinforced daily through small internal decisions. Each time you choose to continue instead of quit, to learn instead of complain, you strengthen a self-image rooted in capability. Over time, this identity becomes the foundation for consistent action. Mental discipline is not about controlling every thought, but about choosing which thoughts deserve your attention. Thoughts will arise automatically, often influenced by past experiences, conditioning, and emotion. You do not have to believe every thought you have. You do not have to act on every impulse. Awareness creates space, and in that space lies freedom. When you learn to observe your thoughts instead of being consumed by them, you gain the ability to respond intentionally rather than react emotionally. The inner world is also where purpose is clarified. External success without internal alignment leads to emptiness. When your actions are disconnected from your values, no achievement feels satisfying. Purpose begins with reflection, honesty, and courage, all of which happen internally. It requires you to ask difficult questions and sit with uncomfortable answers. This internal work gives meaning to effort and direction to discipline. Without it, even hard work can feel aimless. Strengthening your inner world is a daily practice. Liberate. When your inner world is disciplined, resilient, and aligned, external challenges lose their power to overwhelm you. The battles you fight within determine the direction you move in without, and mastering that inner terrain is the most important work you will ever do. Small wins accumulate into greatness, even though in the moment they often feel too insignificant to matter. We are conditioned to look for dramatic breakthroughs, instant transformations, and visible milestones that announce progress loudly. But real growth rarely works that way. It moves quietly, almost invisibly, through repeated actions that seem ordinary at first glance. A single small win may not change your life in a day, but it changes you in a way that compounds over time. It shifts your mindset, strengthens your belief, and builds momentum, and momentum is what carries you forward when motivation fades. Every meaningful achievement is built on a foundation of small, consistent victories. These wins are not glamorous. They are waking up when you said you would. They are choosing effort when excuses are easier. They are showing up again after a setback instead of walking away. Each one sends a message to your mind that you are capable of following through. That message matters more than the scale of the action itself. Confidence is not born from massive success. It is built through repeated proof that you can trust yourself. Small wins lower the barrier to action. When a goal feels overwhelming, the mind looks for ways to avoid it. Large goals can trigger fear, doubt, and procrastination, not because they are impossible, but because they feel distant. Small wins make progress approachable. They break down ambition into manageable steps that the mind can accept. Once you take that first small step, resistance weakens, and the next step feels possible. Progress begins to feel less like a struggle and more like a process. There is a psychological shift that happens when you focus on small wins instead of distant outcomes. You stop measuring success only by the finish line and start recognizing progress in the present. This creates positive reinforcement. Each small victory releases a sense of satisfaction that encourages continued effort. Over time, this reinforcement builds a cycle of action and reward that sustains consistency. Instead of relying on willpower alone, you begin to rely on momentum. Small wins also build resilience. When you expect only big victories to matter, setbacks feel devastating. But when you value small progress, failure loses its power to stop you. A bad day no longer erases everything you have done. It becomes one moment in a much larger journey. You learn to recover quickly, adjust, and keep moving forward. This ability to persist through fluctuation is what separates those who succeed long-term from those who quit early. Greatness is not created through intensity alone, it is created through accumulation. Just as interest compounds in a bank account, effort compounds through repetition. What starts as a small habit becomes a strong routine. What begins as basic skill develops into mastery. This compounding effect is slow at first, which is why it is easy to underestimate. But once it gains momentum, the results become undeniable. The key is staying consistent long enough for the accumulation to take effect. Small wins shape identity. Each time you complete a task you committed to, you reinforce the belief that you are disciplined, capable, and dependable. Identity drives behavior. When you see yourself as someone who follows through, you are more likely to continue acting in alignment with that self-image. Over time, this identity becomes stable, and your actions begin to feel natural rather than forced. Greatness, then, is not something you chase, it is something you grow into. Focusing on small wins also keeps you grounded in the present. It reduces anxiety about the future and regret about the past by anchoring your attention in what you can do right now. This presence improves the quality of your effort. When you are fully engaged in small tasks, you perform them better. Better performance leads to better outcomes, which reinforces the value of consistency. This loop strengthens both skill and confidence simultaneously. Many people abandon their goals because they underestimate the power of small actions and overestimate the need for dramatic change. They believe that if progress is not obvious, it is not happening. But the most profound changes often happen beneath the surface first. Muscles grow during rest, skills sharpen through repetition, and character is built through choices no one else sees. Small wins are the invisible architecture of greatness. Choosing to value small wins requires patience and humility. It asks you to let go of the need for immediate recognition and trust the process instead. It encourages you to measure progress internally rather than externally. This mindset protects you from discouragement and keeps you focused on what truly matters. Showing up consistently and doing the work over time, the accumulation of these efforts creates results that appear extraordinary to others, even though they were built through ordinary actions repeated faithfully. Greatness is not a sudden arrival at a distant destination. It is the natural outcome of countless small decisions made with intention, discipline, and belief. When you commit to winning the small moments, the ordinary days, in the quiet efforts, you set in motion a process that transforms who you are and what you are capable of becoming. Because small wins repeated over time do not stay small. Adversity isn't a block, it's a test of resolve. And the way you interpret hardship determines whether it becomes a wall that stops you or a weight that strengthens you. Every challenge carries a hidden question, asking not if you are capable, but how committed you truly are. Life does not place obstacles in your path to punish you. It places them there to reveal you. In moments of difficulty, excuses are easy, retreat feels logical, and quitting seems justified. But adversity exposes the depth of your character and the strength of your intentions in ways comfort never can. When everything is going smoothly, resolve remains untested. Anyone can stay motivated when progress is visible and rewards come quickly. But when the path becomes uncertain, when effort feels heavier and results feel distant, resolve is called into action. This is where many people mistake resistance for rejection. They assume that difficulty means they are on the wrong path, when in reality, difficulty is often a sign that they are exactly where growth begins. Adversity forces you to decide whether your goals are conveniences or commitments. Challenges strip away illusions. They remove the comfort of potential and replace it with the demand for action. You can no longer rely on enthusiasm alone. You must rely on discipline, patience, and belief. In adversity, your habits are tested, your mindset is challenged, and your values are clarified. You begin to see what truly matters and what you were only willing to pursue when it was easy. This clarity, though uncomfortable, is one of adversity's greatest gifts. Adversity also reshapes perspective. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable after you have faced worse. What once intimidated you loses its power after you have endured uncertainty and survived. Each challenge you face expands your capacity to handle the next one. This expansion is gradual and often unnoticed in the moment, but it accumulates over time. Strength is not built by avoiding pressure, but by carrying it long enough to grow stronger beneath its weight. There is a difference between pain that weakens and pain that refines. The difference lies in response. When adversity is met with resistance and reflection, it becomes a teacher. It reveals gaps in preparation, mindset, or strategy, and invites you to improve. When it is met with avoidance or bitterness, it becomes a burden. Resolve is not about pretending things are easy. It is about choosing to continue despite acknowledging how difficult they are. Adversity demands adaptation. It forces you to think creatively, to adjust expectations, and to refine your approach. What worked before may no longer be effective, and this realization can feel discouraging. But growth often requires evolution. Adversity pushes you out of familiar patterns and into new ways of thinking. It challenges complacency and disrupts comfort, making room for development that would not occur otherwise. Resolve is strengthened in moments when no one is watching. It is built in private decisions, quiet persistence, unseen effort. Adversity often removes external validation, leaving you alone with your commitment. This isolation tests whether your drive comes from approval or purpose. When you continue without recognition, you anchor your motivation internally. That internal anchoring is what allows you to stay steady through a prolonged challenge. Hardship also it reminds you that progress is not guaranteed and that growth requires patience. It slows you down long enough to reflect, calibrate, and reconnect with your needs. This humility does not weaken ambition, it grounds it. It keeps you open to learning and willing to adjust rather than stubbornly repeating what no longer serves. Adversity has a way of shaping identity. You begin to see yourself not as someone who avoids difficulty, but as someone who can endure it. This shift changes how you approach future challenges. You stop asking whether you are strong enough and start asking how you will respond. Confidence becomes quiet, deeper, rooted in experience rather than hope. You trust yourself because you've seen what you can sustain. Every meaningful path includes resistance. If success came without adversity, it would lack depth and durability. What is built easily is often more easy. What is built through challenge carries strength and substance. Adversity ensures that what you gain is matched by who you become in the process. It tests your resolve not to discourage you, but to prepare you for the responsibility of growth. In the end, adversity is not an interruption of the journey. It is the journey refining itself. Each obstacle asks you to rise a little higher in discipline, clarity, and commitment. Each setback invites you to deepen your resolve and strengthen your foundation. When you stop seeing adversity as a block and start recognizing it as a test, you realize that every challenge is shaping you into someone capable of carrying the life you are working toward. Leverage your time, don't let it control you. Because time itself is neutral, but the way you relate to it determines whether it becomes your greatest asset or your constant source of stress. Everyone is given the same 24 hours, yet the difference in outcomes comes from intention, awareness, and discipline. When you live reactively, time feels like something that is always running out, something chasing you, something you can never catch. But when you live deliberately, time becomes a tool you use to build, to grow, and to move steadily toward what matters most. Most people don't lose time all at once. They lose it in fragments. Minutes slip away to distraction, hours dissolve into business, and days disappear without meaningful progress. This happens not because people are lazy, but because they allow urgency to replace importance. They respond to everything and commit to anything, leaving little space for what truly moves their life forward. When time controls you, your schedule is dictated by external demands rather than internal priorities. You stay busy, but you do not feel fulfilled. Leveraging time begins with clarity. You cannot use time effectively if you are unclear about what deserves you. When you know what you are building toward, your decisions become simpler. You start saying no without guilt and yes with intention. You recognize that every commitment carries a cost, and that cost is time you will never get back. This awareness does not make you rigid, it makes you selective. You stop confusing motion with progress, start aligning your actions with your values. Time becomes more powerful when it is structured. Structure does not limit freedom, it creates it. When your days have rhythm and purpose, you waste less energy deciding what to do next. You reduce mental clutter and preserve focus on meaningful work. Structure allows you to enter deep concentration where effort compounds and results accelerate. Without structure, even the most ambitious goals remain scattered across many paths. One of the most important shifts in leveraging time is learning to think long-term. When you only focus on today, you make decisions that feel good now but cost you later. When you consider the future, you begin to invest rather than spend your time. This mindset changes how you approach habits, relationships, and work. Small actions take on greater meaning as you understand their cumulative impact. Time becomes a partner in progress rather than an enemy you are racing against. Discipline plays a crucial role in this relationship. Discipline is not about squeezing productivity out of every second. It is about protecting time from pursuit. It is choosing focused effort over constant stimulation. It is setting boundaries around distractions that quietly steal attention. When you discipline your time, you gain the ability to be fully present in whatever you are doing. This presence improves quality, whether in work, rest, or connection with others. Rest is also a form of leverage. Many people misuse time by overworking and under-recovering, believing that constant effort equals progress. In reality, sustained performance requires balance. Rest restores clarity, creativity, and energy. When you schedule rest intentionally, it becomes productive rather than wasteful. You return to your work sharper and more focused, able to use your time with greater efficiency. When you let time control you, urgency dominates your decisions. Everything feels immediate and nothing feels meaningful. Stress increases, patience decreases, and reflection disappears. But when you take control of your time, you create space for thinking, learning, and growth. You begin to respond instead of react. This shift improves not only productivity, but also peace of mind. Leveraging time also means recognizing seasons. Not every phase of life demands the same intensity or focus. Some seasons are for building, others for refining, and others for resting. Wisdom lies in knowing what each season requires and adjusting accordingly. When you fight the season you are in, time feels heavy. When you work with it, time feels supportive. Your relationship with time reflects your relationship with yourself. If you respect your time, you respect your energy, your goals, and your future. You stop treating time as something to kill and start treating it as something to cultivate. This respect shows in your consistency, your boundaries, and your ability to follow through. Time will pass regardless of how you use it. The question is whether it will drift away unnoticed or be directed with purpose. When you learn to leverage your time, you stop feeling rushed and start feeling and achieve what matters most to you. It is the internal agreement that your efforts are meaningful, that your growth is possible, and that your existence has value beyond circumstances. Without this belief, every goal you set becomes fragile, every plan you make becomes uncertain, and every opportunity feels out of reach because doubt acts like a filter that distorts what is possible before it even has a chance to manifest. Most people underestimate the power of self-belief because they mistake visible talent, resources, or opportunities as the determining factors of success. While these external elements can influence outcomes, they are secondary to the internal foundation of belief. You can have every skill in the world, every connection, every advantage, yet without trusting your capacity to navigate challenges, all of it can remain unused or wasted. Belief is what turns knowledge into action, preparation into execution, and intention into results. It is the lens through which you interpret obstacles, setbacks, and even success itself. And it shapes how you move forward when the world is uncertain, when challenges seem insurmountable, or when results are not immediate. Self-belief grows from repeated proof. Every time you take action despite fear, every time you persevere through difficulty, every time you refuse to quit in the face of discouragement, you reinforce trust in yourself. These moments, though small, accumulate into a mental bank of evidence that you are capable of more than you sometimes allow yourself to imagine. This is why self-belief is often stronger in those who have faced adversity. It has been tested and proven in the crucible of experience. It is grounded in reality, not fantasy, and it is resilient because it is earned through action rather than wishful thinking. Belief transforms perception. When you trust in your own capability, obstacles are no longer intimidating walls, but challenges to overcome. Failure becomes feedback rather than final judgment, and setbacks become opportunities to learn rather than reasons to quit. The way you interpret events is shaped by your belief, and your interpretation dictates your actions. A person with strong self-belief sees a difficult project as an invitation to grow, while a person without it sees the same project as proof of inadequacy. Belief acts as a magnifier of possibility. It allows you to see opportunities that others overlook, to approach risk with courage instead of hesitation, and to pursue goals with persistence when circumstances are uncertain. Self-belief fuels resilience, and resilience is what carries you through the inevitable challenges of life. Every path worth pursuing includes moments of difficulty, doubt, and resistance. Without belief, these moments can become stopping points. With belief, they become tests of commitment and strength. Resilience is not the absence of fear, but the ability to move forward despite it, and belief provides the internal strength necessary to take action even when the outcome is uncertain. It is the quiet voice that whispers, "I can handle this," when the world seems to scream otherwise, and it is this voice that keeps you aligned with your purpose when everything external feels unstable. Consistency is a product of self-belief. Action without belief is sporadic and driven by fluctuating motivation. People may try for a day, a week, or a month, but when challenges arise, doubt takes over and effort falls. Self-belief removes the dependency on mood, circumstance, or external validation. It allows you to keep moving, to show up, and to commit even when it is uncomfortable, inconvenient, or exhausting. Over time, consistent action compounds into skill, progress, and achievement, all of which reinforce the belief that you are capable, creating a feedback loop that strengthens both confidence and results. The life you want is waiting on the other side of discipline, and this is a truth that is often easier to understand than to act on. Everyone wants results, success, freedom, or fulfillment, but few are willing to pay the price consistently. Discipline is not about punishment, deprivation, or rigidity. It is about choosing to do what is necessary even when you do not feel like it, and even when the rewards are not immediate. It is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be, the silent force that transforms intention into reality, and the foundation upon which lasting growth is built. Without discipline, dreams remain fantasies, plans remain incomplete, and potential remains untapped. With discipline, however, The impossible becomes possible, the overwhelming becomes manageable, and the life you imagine begins to take shape through repeated action and consistent effort. Many people misunderstand discipline, thinking that it requires motivation or inspiration to function. They wait for excitement, passion, or the perfect moment to begin, and they believe that discipline is something that comes naturally once they feel ready. The truth is that discipline is not dependent on emotion. It is a skill you cultivate, a choice you make every day, and a commitment to your future self. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the wind. Discipline is steadfast. It shows up even when feelings fluctuate, when energy dips, and when the world seems to conspire against you. It is the quiet, unglamorous work that produces extraordinary results over time. Discipline creates consistency, and consistency is what transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary outcomes. A single act of effort may feel insignificant on its own, but when repeated day after day, week after week, it compounds into progress that is undeniable. Small actions guided by discipline accumulate like deposits in a bank account. Over time, the balance grows not because of a single transaction, but because of the relentless commitment to showing up and doing the work, even when it feels tedious or uncomfortable. The life you desire is not built in moments of excitement. It is built in quiet, disciplined decisions that most people are unwilling to make. Discipline also teaches delayed gratification, which is the ability to prioritize long-term gain over short-term pleasure. This is where many people fail. It is tempting to choose comfort over effort, immediate satisfaction over enduring growth, and ease over challenge. Discipline is the ability to resist these temptations, to act in alignment with your goals, even when it is inconvenient, and to trust that the effort you invest today will yield results tomorrow. Delayed gratification is not about deprivation, it is about investment. Every disciplined choice is a deposit toward the life you are trying to create, and the more you commit to these choices, the closer you move to your desired reality. The other side of discipline is freedom. This may sound counterintuitive because discipline is often associated with restriction, but the truth is that self-control creates opportunity. By mastering your habits, routines, and actions, you free yourself from the chaos of impulsivity, distraction, and inconsistency. You stop being reactive to circumstance and begin being proactive in shaping your life. The freedom that comes from discipline is the freedom to pursue your goals without being held back by procrastination, doubt, or lack of preparation. It is the ability to act decisively, knowing that your foundation is strong because it is built on consistent effort. Discipline also builds resilience because it teaches you to keep moving forward even when the path is difficult. Life is unpredictable and challenges are inevitable. Without discipline, the first obstacle can derail progress because momentum is fragile when it is driven only by motivation or convenience. With discipline, however, you continue to act, adapt, and persevere regardless of circumstance. Each act of perseverance strengthens your confidence, expands your capacity to handle difficulty, and reinforces the belief that you are capable of achieving your goals. Discipline transforms setbacks into lessons and obstacles into opportunities, and it creates a mindset that refuses to be defeated by circumstance. Self-discipline is intimately tied to self-respect. Every time you make the choice to do what is hard, to follow through on a commitment, or to act in alignment with your goals, you are proving to yourself that your future matters more than fleeting comfort. This strengthens your sense of identity, reinforcing the belief that you are capable, worthy, and committed. Discipline becomes a reflection of your values, a demonstration of your priorities, and a tangible measure of your integrity. When your actions consistently reflect your intentions, confidence grows naturally because you can trust yourself to follow through even when no one else is watching. The life you want is not a result of luck, chance, or sudden breakthroughs. It is a result of repeated choices aligned with disciplined action. Every successful person, every meaningful achievement, every transformation begins with the decision to do the work, to maintain focus, and to persist despite resistance. Discipline bridges the gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it. It is stress and allows you to focus your energy on execution rather than decision making. The structure